When the original Sin City came out, Frank Miller, the writer-director of these films and the creator of the comic book, had a great quote. Good noir has to get you in here. Well, in this sequel with Jessica Alba, Ava Green in all her glory, the cutie Julia Garner, and even a stripping scene with Alexa Vega, it didn't get me in here. It got me in here. You can't tell, but I'm winking. Alright, that joke was a little cheeky, so let's get educational again. Sin City, brought to you by the letter B. That's right, B. B stands for blindness. I can't see a friggin' thing in these. Here it is, finally, the sequel to the beautiful neo-noir, ultra-violent Sin City, almost a decade in the making. The question really becomes, what were they waiting for? I do have a lot of respect when it comes to Robert Rodriguez. I mean, he's a director who clearly loves being a filmmaker. He loves watching movies, he loves making movies, and he loves his job. But between the original Sin City and A Dame to Kill For, he hasn't exactly been lighting it up at the box office, with a bunch of short films, a 4th Spy Kids film, and 2 Machete films. And Frank Miller made The Spirit, and mine died a little. In reality though, while the Sin City franchise had to recast either due to pregnancy or unfortunate deaths of some of the cast members, if it weren't for the time that had gone by, this sequel wouldn't have been the same movie. 9 years ago, Josh Brolin wasn't really a thing, as No Country for Old Men hadn't been released yet, and 9 years ago, Ava Green was not yet a Bond girl. That, and 9 years ago, Alexa Vega was 16, so her stripping might have attracted the wrong audience, methinks. Most importantly, at least to me, the guy so nice they named him thrice, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, had really only done his Disney movies, Third Rock from the Sun, and 10 Things I Hate About You. One thing that I really liked about the movie that I feel that others will miss is the fact that most of the cast, I think, were meant to be in film noir, as most of them really fit the bill when it comes to classic silver screen stars. Rourke has the iconic voice and ugly mug of an Edward G. Robinson. Green is as sexy and malicious as Bridget O'Shaughnessy and any femme fatale. And Josh Brolin is as hard-boiled and jaded as Robert Mitchum. But I really felt that when you're talking about old souls and old school Hollywood, nobody tops JGL. He reminds me of classic stars like Fred Astaire or Dean Martin. He's handsome, he can dance, he can sing, but he's got just enough tough guy in him to make him an everyman. Alright, enough swooning over the Third Rock kid. I just think he and I could be friends is all. Since there weren't really a lot of new characters in this Sin City, I was looking forward to Johnny and seeing JGL in this world, and I felt that I was invested in Johnny more than any other character. Not to mention having Julia Garner on his arm didn't hurt. His story was not only the best filmed sequence and the most stylized, but I felt it was the most heartbreaking. And that's why JGL is Sin City 2's For the Man Crush. I mean, for the win. I'm not sure what to say about the rest of the cast. Powers Booth was the most fleshed out character, I thought, and a real evil bastard to watch. But the rest of the characters were either flat like Josh Brolin or too much like Ava Green. Speaking of too much, is there such a thing as too much boob? Even fan favorites like Hartigan and Marv didn't get a chance to shine in A Dame to Kill For, as Bruce Willis was barely in it and Mickey Rourke wasn't the central character. But we all know why we go to see a Sin City film, or at least why we went to go to see the first one. The style. And boobs, right? It's still a very pretty film, and at this point, the film's look has been often imitated but never duplicated. That includes other Miller films. But the style is much more than the awesome high contrast or the living comic book visuals. Frank Miller is definitely one of the most prolific, genre-bending graphic novel writers ever published, and no matter what he writes, it ends up being cool. You can't imitate the cool factor. And Sin City 2 is no different. It's got awesome action and amazing memorable one-liners. It's just too bad that Rodriguez didn't influence more when it came to storytelling, editing, and directing. My biggest 2 complaints about this film was that the pacing is slow very often, and the narrative between the 2 films is jumbled, and therefore became a little confusing. Trying to figure out which parts were sequels, which parts were prequels, and what order they went in was the most confusing cinematic jigsaw puzzle ever put on film. And I still can't figure out where the Lady Gaga piece fits. Like I said though, most of us go to see Sin City 2 for the cool factor, and for the visual originality. And boobs, right? While it definitely lost some of its original punch, and I feel the decade between films killed any momentum the first one built up, I still liked it. And I feel that if you liked the first Sin City, you're still gonna like the sequel. It's an earn it. Poll question, what is your favorite Robert Rodriguez film? As always, leave your answers in the comment section below. But until next time, school's out.